The wrong delivery driver. You ever order late night takeout and wonder who's actually bringing it to your door? We don't think about it. We just hear the knock, open up, and say thanks. But what if the person standing there wasn't who you thought it was? Picture it, a cramped, second-floor apartment, walls thin enough that you can hear the neighbor's TV bleeding through. The kind of place where the pipes rattle whenever someone flushes upstairs. It's past midnight and the world feels tucked in. My partner, Hannah, is curled up on the couch in a blanket that's seen better days. She's scrolling through her phone, half distracted, while I'm pacing the living room, waiting on greasy salvation. 2 burgers, a pile of fries, and a milkshake thick enough to stop a heart. The streets outside our single window are bone empty. No cars, no footsteps, just the occasional sigh of wind that rattles the loose gutter. It's the kind of quiet that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels staged, like the world pressed mute for reasons you don't understand. The app says the driver's close. 5 minutes, then 3, then 1. The little blue dot creeps toward our building, stops just short. But instead of a cheerful buzz from my phone or a message that says I'm here, there's nothing, just the stillness pressing in. Hannah laughs, says maybe he's circling the block, trying to find the right door. But I can't shake it. Something about tonight feels crooked, like the air's holding its breath. Then it comes, a knock. Not sharp, not polite. A slow, deliberate thud, as though the person on the other side knows we're listening, knows we're waiting. And somehow, before I even reach for the doorknob, I already regret placing that order. The doorbell echoes through the apartment again, low and vibrating, like someone pressing it just a little too long. I grab my wallet, tell myself not to be stupid. It's just dinner, just food. The guy standing there in uniform, logo cap, thermal bag slung at his side, perfectly ordinary right down to the scuffed sneakers. But it's his eyes. They don't blink. They just sit there in his skull, glossy and wet, like they're watching more than me, like they're memorizing. He grins, too wide, a grin that belongs on a mannequin, not a man. He extends the bag, but he doesn't let go. His fingers clamp the paper handles like claws. I laugh it off, force a smile. Okay, weird dude, but whatever. I scribble on the receipt, slide it back. That's when he leans in, close enough that I smell his breath. Something sour, metallic, not food. You shouldn't stay up this late, he whispers. My skin goes cold. I yank the bag, slam the door in his face, lock it fast. Hannah snorts from the couch, says I'm paranoid, tells me to relax. Maybe he was high, maybe he was joking. People are strange. Don't make a horror story out of it. I try. I sit. Open the bag. Grease stains the cardboard. Burgers wrapped, fries limp, but I can't shake the crawling on my skin, the feeling that grin is still hovering just outside. Then, 5 minutes later, the bell rings again. Hannah groans, says maybe he forgot something. I force myself up, every step heavier than the last. This time, the driver looks normal. Short guy, tired, cap pulled low, confused smile. He holds up a receipt with our names printed on it. Sorry, he says, traffic was rough, but I got here as fast as I could. I stare at the bag in his hands. Same restaurant, same order. Fries, burgers, a milkshake sweating through its cup. I can't even find my voice. My throat locks, dry and raw. Because if this is our order, fresh, untouched, arriving just now, then who the hell was that first man? And what exactly did he hand me? We check the security cam. Hannah's the one who pulls it up on her phone, her face lit ghostly blue by the screen. And this is the moment, the scene you don't forget, the one that crawls into your bones and never leaves. The feed is grainy, the kind of black and white that turns shadows into stains. The street is empty, no car pulling up, no headlights, no figure walking away, just static, a whole lot of nothing. But then we see it. At the very edge of the frame, pressed against the glass of the door, is a handprint. Oily, greasy, dripping, faint trails down the pane, the size of a man's hand, too wide, too long. Smeared downward like whoever it was had been leaning close, face to the window, waiting for us to open it again. I freeze. My chest tightens like I'm being crushed from the inside. Hannah whispers what the hell, her voice so thin it's almost a squeak. And then, knock, not from the video, from here, from the door. Right now, we whip our heads toward it. 3 sharp raps, precise, measured. Not the delivery driver this time, something colder. I whisper, don't move. We sit there, locked in silence, hearing nothing but the tick of the wall clock. But the doorknob twitches, slowly. A soft, rattling turn, as if someone is testing it inch by inch. Hannah gasps. I lunge, slam the deadbolt tighter, press my whole weight against the wood. My ear's against the door now, and I swear I hear it, breathing. Not ragged, not frantic, calm, patient. The app dings again. Your order has been delivered. That's impossible. Both bags are still on the counter. The doorknob jerks hard, once, then silence. We stand frozen, too afraid to breathe. Then Hannah's phone buzzes. A message. Not from the restaurant, not from the driver, from an unknown number. 7 words, don't eat the food, open up. And suddenly I know, whatever's outside wants in, and whatever's in those bags might already be inside. We lock every door, every window. Hannah double checks each latch, her hands trembling so hard the blinds rattle. The chain on the front door slides across with a metallic snap, but it doesn't feel like enough. Nothing feels like enough. The lights stay on all night, every lamp, every bulb. The apartment glows like a stage set, bright and artificial, while the world outside sinks deeper into its silence. We sit huddled on the couch, side by side, listening for the faintest sound beyond the walls. The food sits untouched on the counter. 2 bags, 2 identical orders. They look like props in some cruel joke, mocking us with their sameness. Hannah says we should throw them out, get rid of them. But I can't. I keep staring at the grease stains soaking through the paper, trying to decide if one of them is real or if both are wrong. And I can't shake his words. You shouldn't stay up this late. Was it a warning, a threat, a countdown? Hannah insists we call the restaurant, but when she finally dials, no one answers. Just a hollow ring, then silence. Not even voicemail. She tries again. Same thing. My chest aches with a growing certainty. We've already let something in. Maybe not through the door, maybe not in flesh, but through the food, through the exchange, through that handprint smeared on the glass. At 3 a.m., exhaustion hits us like a weight. Hannah dozes against my shoulder, twitching awake at every creak of the pipes. I force myself to stay alert, eyes burning, throat dry. The digital clock blinks the hours away, but the night refuses to end. Every so often, I check the peephole. Every time it's empty, just the hallway stretching into shadow, but still, I feel him, the first driver. I feel him close, like he's pressed against the other side, grinning, waiting for the deadbolt to slip. By dawn, we're half mad with fear. The sky outside blushes pink and the silence finally breaks. The world stirs again, cars passing, birds shrieking, life resuming as though nothing happened. But on our counter, those bags remain. The fries have gone cold, the milkshake has melted, and the burgers, they smell wrong, sweet, almost rotten, like something alive has been waiting inside them. Next morning, the handprint is gone. Not faded, not smudged, just gone, like it was never there. The glass is clean, untouched, reflecting nothing but the pale daylight seeping in. If I didn't have the memory burned into my brain, I'd almost believe it was a dream. Almost. The food sits where we left it, cold, heavy. The grease has bled through both bags, seeping onto the counter like a spreading disease. Hannah says we should throw them away, but I can't bring myself to touch them. It feels like if I so much as lift a wrapper, something will shift inside, something that doesn't belong in this world. We spend the morning moving like ghosts, no words, just the silence of 2 people who saw something they'll never explain. Hannah leaves for work eventually, pale and jittery, while I sit alone in the bright, sterile apartment. Every sound, a car horn, a dog bark, feels wrong, too sharp, too loud, and the driver's words won't leave me. You shouldn't stay up this late. Was he warning me? Was he threatening me? Or was he disappointed? That thought clings to me, rots in me. What if he wasn't delivering food at all? What if he was checking doors, testing locks, looking for the right one to open? And next time, maybe he won't leave empty-handed. The clock ticks, and for the first time in my life, I dread nightfall, because the night doesn't feel safe anymore. It feels like a game board, and somewhere out there, a player I can't see is already making his move. So if your doorbell rings tonight and the man outside is smiling too wide, holding something you didn't order, don't open it. Don't even breathe near the lock, because he's waiting, and he's patient. If this story sent a chill down your spine, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and gets these stories in front of more listeners. Don't forget to subscribe for daily content and share this video with someone who loves a good scare. Thank you for listening for watching, for being here tonight. There's another story waiting for you on your screen right now. Go ahead, click it, and I'll see you back here tomorrow, if you can sleep. The video that wouldn't end. Let me start with a question. Have you ever clicked on a video you knew you shouldn't? That's what I did. Just another sleepless night at home, lights low, scrolling through YouTube like a zombie. I wasn't special, just an ordinary guy, too tired to sleep, too restless to stop. My apartment was nothing worth describing. Beige walls, a thrift store couch, a computer desk shoved into the corner like an afterthought. But when you can't sleep, even the plainest things grow strange. The tick of the wall clock sounded too loud, the glow of the router light too sharp, as though the room had been waiting for me to notice it was alive. I should have gone to bed, should have slammed the laptop shut and forced myself to dream. Instead, I let the algorithm steer me. And then there it was, a recommended link, tucked between cat videos and late-night talk show clips. A thumbnail so blurry, it looked like a mistake. Title, Live, Hallway, just 2 words. My first thought was, security cam feed? Some low-rent creepypasta stream? It looked boring, but my thumb hovered, and then it tapped. The screen opened to a hallway, empty, long and featureless. Fluorescent lights buzzed, one bulb flickering like it couldn't quite make up its mind. The camera angle never shifted, never wavered, as though the lens itself was holding its breath. At first I laughed, watched for a minute, waiting for something cheap, some jump scare, some fake ghost flicker, but nothing came. That silence, that stillness, it held me longer than I expected. The hallway seemed to stretch deeper the longer I stared, as if the walls themselves were inching farther away, dragging the perspective with them. I didn't know it yet, but that click, my dumb, sleepless click, was the last ordinary choice I'd make all night. At first, nothing happened, no sound, no movement, just this endless hallway stretching like a nightmare that refused to blink. I hovered my mouse over the corner of the window, ready to close it. Easy enough, but there was no X, no pause button, no controls at all. Just the word live burning red in the corner, pulsing like a heartbeat. I tapped escape. Nothing. Alt F4, nothing. Even the task manager wouldn't open, as though the feed had swallowed my machine whole. And then, footsteps. Soft at first, padded, echoing from the far end of the hall. My chest tightened. A figure appeared, walking toward the camera. Tall, sluggish, the glow of a phone in his hand. And then my stomach turned cold. It was me. Same messy hair, same plaid pajamas, same little tilt of the head I made when my neck got stiff. He moved like me, breathed like me, like I was watching a reflection walk free of its mirror. I shot upright, my chair screeching across the floor. My eyes darted to the apartment door, then to the real hallway outside my room. Empty, silent, normal. But on screen, the other me stopped walking. He tilted his head, listening. And then, God help me, he turned toward the lens, toward me, and smiled. It wasn't a human smile. It stretched too far, carving his cheeks into something sharp and wrong. Teeth that didn't belong in any mouth spilled out, gleaming under the fluorescent buzz. Behind him, the walls of the hallway rippled, sagging and bending like melting wax. Text flickered across the bottom of the video. Not typed, but scratched in white, jagged letters that hissed against the screen. Next scene starts when you stop watching. My pulse thudded in my ears. I couldn't breathe. If I kept watching, I'd see things no person was meant to see. But if I stopped, if I closed my laptop, turned away, even blinked, what scene would begin? I pressed my palms to my face, trembling, whispering like a prayer. It's just a video, just some trick. But when I looked again, the other me was closer. His phone was gone. His hands were empty, and he was still smiling. I slammed the laptop shut so hard the screen rattled. The room snapped into darkness, my own reflection swallowed by the black. Silence rushed in, heavy, clinging. Except it wasn't silence. There it was, the sound I dreaded. Slow, steady footsteps, not from the speakers, from the hallway, my hallway. I gripped the laptop like a shield. My breath came shallow and thin. The steps grew louder, deliberate, as though whoever or whatever was savoring each one. I wanted to run, to throw open the window, drop the laptop, anything to break this nightmare. But my legs locked. My hand hovered over the lid, trembling. My heart whispered, "Don't look." My brain hissed, "You have to know." Finally, like peeling a bandage, I cracked the laptop open. The stream had changed, no hallway now. No endless corridor of buzzing lights. Instead, the camera feed showed my bedroom, my bed, my desk, my walls. Live. From inside my room, I felt my stomach pitch like stepping off an elevator shaft. This wasn't a video anymore. This was now. This was me. And then I saw the doorway. Standing in it, me. Same hair, same pajamas, same body. But his skin was pale as wet paper. His teeth glistened like polished bone. He wasn't smiling anymore. His lips were parted, trembling as though holding something back. He lifted a hand, my hand, and beckoned. Just one crook of the finger, slow and patient. I snapped the laptop shut again. Footsteps stopped. I could feel him on the other side of the door, waiting. The air grew thick, metallic, like blood in my mouth. My choices were gone. I could not look, could not open, could not act. If I kept it shut, he would come in. If I opened it, I'd see what he wanted me to see. I reached for the doorknob. It turned from the other side. The laptop sprang open on its own, screen flaring white. A whisper poured from the speakers, a voice that was mine but deeper, broken. Next scene starts when you step through. The doorway yawned. My double weighted, arm outstretched, and I stepped forward. And I dropped the laptop. It hit the carpet with a dull thud, screen still glowing like a dying star. I lunged for the light switch, slamming it up and down, but nothing answered. No bulb, no relief. The darkness held its ground. And yet, the room wasn't black. The glow from the laptop spilled across the walls, sickly and pale, shadows jerking upward like puppets on strings. On the screen, my double crouched, lowering himself until his face filled the frame. He stared through the glass with eyes that weren't mine. They bulged, slick and fever bright, pupils dilated into yawning holes. Then his mouth began to stretch, wider, wider, until the corners of his lips cracked and tore, splitting up toward his ears. A grin too big for a skull, too sharp for any dream. I staggered back, but the glow followed me, dragging my shadow into his smile. The text returned, jittering across the bottom of the screen. You can't stop watching. I screamed at him, my own voice breaking in the stale air. What do you want? No answer, just the hiss of static. My doppelganger tilted his head the way I did when I didn't understand something, when I was trying to solve a puzzle. Then slowly he raised a hand, not to beckon this time, to mirror me. I lifted mine without meaning to, shaking, breath shallow. He raised his higher. Every move I made, he matched, but not with a delay, with a hunger like he was waiting for me to give permission. The laptop hissed louder. I wanted to smash it, hurl it through the window, but my body betrayed me. My hand hovered, trembling inches from the glass. His did the same. The air smelled like burning wires. I thought of calling someone, but what would I say? That a YouTube video had trapped me? That my own face was trying to crawl out of a laptop screen? Nobody would believe it. And somewhere inside me I knew they couldn't help. It was only me and him now. And the longer I watched, the closer his face pressed against the glass, flattening, warping, like he was testing the strength of the screen between us. And the glass was starting to crack. And here's the thing, that was 3 nights ago. 3 nights of no sleep. The laptop still open like a black hole in the corner of my room. The feed hasn't ended. The hallway is gone now. It's just my double's face pressed flat against the screen as though it's made of water instead of glass. Cracks spider out from the edges like veins, but they never quite break. I've tried everything. Unplugging, smashing, even burning it. Nothing works. The glow just keeps returning, pulsing like a heartbeat, calling me back. And every time I close my eyes, I hear it. The footsteps, slow, steady, just outside my door, never closer, never farther, waiting. I've stopped answering texts, stopped calling friends, stopped even leaving the apartment, because I can't risk turning my back on that screen. I can't risk missing whatever comes next. Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's already won. And yet even now, some part of me wonders, what happens if I finally let it in? If I stop resisting and just step through? Would it be a relief? Or would it be the last thing I ever do? I don't know how long I can keep this up, but I do know one thing. If you see that video recommended on your feed, don't click, because once you start watching, it doesn't stop. Once you see yourself on the other side of the glass, you're not just a viewer anymore, you're the next scene. If you made it this far into the story, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this creepy tale, please hit the like button. It really helps this channel grow and make sure more people can find it. Subscribe for daily stories just like this one, and share this video with someone who loves a good scare, or someone who might need a warning. There's another recommended video waiting for you right now on your screen. Click it if you dare. I'll see you back here tomorrow, if you make it back. The Midnight Cellar. Let me ask you something. Have you ever stumbled onto a corner of the internet you knew you weren't supposed to see? Not the shady stuff you expect. Pirated movies, black market meds. No, I mean something that feels like it's looking back at you. That's what happened to me. I was just an ordinary night owl in a sleepy town, living in the cramped upper floor of a duplex that always smelled faintly of someone else's cigarettes. My nights were lit by a cracked laptop screen, its glow casting shadows against walls I never bothered to decorate. I'd spend hours scrolling through the online marketplace, half out of boredom, half out of habit. It was nothing but the usual oddities. Handmade soaps swirled like galaxies, crocheted hats that looked like cartoon animals, little jars of sand labeled with healing properties. Quirky, forgettable. Until I saw the listing. It was a photo of a lock of hair. My hair. Copper brown, tangled from the way I'd brushed it earlier that morning. In the photo, it was sitting in my bathroom sink. The same chipped porcelain, the same faint rust stain around the drain. The title read, "For Sale, A Piece of You." Starting at $11.11. At first I laughed, some sick prank, maybe a glitch. But when I refreshed the page, more items appeared. My toothbrush, the coffee mug I chipped last week, a photo of me asleep in bed. The seller's name sat at the top of every listing, bold and clean like a signature, the Midnight Cellar. And that was the moment I realized something had stepped into my world. Something I hadn't invited. Something I couldn't unsee. At first, I clung to denial like a life raft. This was the internet, after all. Filters, deepfakes, and trolls. People could stage anything if they wanted to scare you. But the more I stared at those photos, the harder it was to breathe. My pajama shirt, my laundry basket, the dent in the wood floor where I dropped a hammer last summer. These weren't just pictures, they were timestamps of my private life. I tore through my apartment, checking locks, windows, even the attic hatch I'd never opened. Everything was sealed. No forced entry, no signs of anyone hiding. But every night, the listings grew bolder. My toothbrush, my favorite mug, coffee still pooled at the bottom, a crumpled grocery receipt I hadn't thrown away yet. Each time I refreshed the page, there was something new. I bought a cheap security camera, propped it on my dresser, and slept with the glow of the red light in the corner of my eye. The next morning, the camera was gone. In its place, a new listing, recording device, used once. I swear the photo was taken seconds before I woke up. I stopped sleeping, started pacing. I taped knives under tables, shoved chairs against the door. None of it mattered. The Midnight Cellar didn't just steal objects. They stole moments, intimate, unnoticed, fragile. Things that were mine because they were unseen. Now they were on display, auctioned off to strangers with usernames like Collector13 and Nightwatcher. One night I logged on and saw a new listing pinned to the top. No object this time. Just a title, full set, the owner. The photo was me, hunched over my laptop, staring at the screen with hollow eyes. A countdown clock ticked underneath, red numbers pulsing like a heartbeat. I tried to delete my account, smash my laptop, disconnect the Wi-Fi, but the page stayed up. My face stayed up, and the clock kept ticking. By then, it wasn't about my stuff anymore. It was about me. Someone was selling my existence in real time, piece by piece, and no matter how fast I moved, they were always one step ahead, already photographing the next thing they'd take. The air in my bedroom turned heavy, like the walls themselves were pressing in. My pulse hammered so loud it drowned out every other sound. I wanted to run, but my body was pinned under the weight of terror, frozen in that awful stillness between fight and flight. The shadow in the photo was tall, blurred, but too solid to be a trick of the light. Whoever it was, whatever it was, stood right there in the same room as me, close enough to reach out. My own reflection blinked back from the laptop screen, a grotesque mirror, me alive, me asleep, me already cataloged for sale. I grabbed the knife taped under my bedside table. My hand shook so badly I nearly dropped it. My breath came in shallow gasps, each one loud enough to betray me. I forced myself to sit up, scanning the dark. Nothing, just the faint glow of the laptop. Then the cursor on the screen began to move, slowly, deliberately. Words appeared in the listing description, one letter at a time. Don't turn around. Every instinct screamed not to look. My skin crawled with the certainty that something loomed inches behind me, leaning close enough for its breath to brush my neck. But terror has a way of twisting obedience into defiance. I spun, knife raised, empty air, no figure, no intruder, just my cluttered room, lit in cold blue glow. I almost laughed from the rush of relief until I turned back to the screen. A new photo had appeared. My back, me holding the knife. The angle was impossible. Someone had taken it from where I just looked. I lunged for the laptop, desperate to slam it shut, to break the spell. But another line of text etched itself across the screen before I touched the keys. Final bid closes at dawn. And beneath it, the price ticked upward, numbers climbing, hungry buyers stacking their offers for me, the living, breathing lot number on display. That was the moment I knew I wasn't just watching the marketplace anymore. I was the product. And if I didn't act before that clock struck zero, I'd be delivered to the highest bidder. My hands trembled on the keys, waiting for the page to reload, praying for proof I wasn't losing my mind. Nothing. Just blank search results. Like the midnight seller had been erased from existence. No traces, no archived listings, not even cached pages. A void where moments ago my entire life had been up for auction. I should have felt relief, freedom. But instead there was a hollow ache in my chest, as though something vital had been carved out and taken with them. I searched the web obsessively for hours, forums, hidden boards, digital rabbit holes where whispers of cursed sellers and midnight auctions lived. No one knew anything. Or maybe they knew and refused to say. When the sun rose, I staggered out into the world like a man who just crawled out of a grave. My neighbor, Mrs. Lee, waved as she watered her plants, cheerful, oblivious. A coworker texted asking why I'd missed my shift. Ordinary life rolled on, indifferent. No one else had seen the shadow, the listings, the clock counting down on my existence. But I had, and I couldn't scrub it from my mind. I smashed the laptop, burned the hard drive in the sink. It didn't matter. That image, the back of my own body, knife trembling in hand, was seared behind my eyes. Every time I closed them, I felt the phantom breath on my neck again, smelled the faint trace of metal and dust. Nights became unbearable. Every creak in the floorboards, every hum of the fridge, felt like the prelude to another photo waiting to surface. I stopped sleeping in bed. Stopped sleeping at all, really. My apartment became a bunker of paranoia. Locks on locks, cameras hidden in every corner, blinds duct taped shut. And yet, there was no proof left. Nothing tangible. No one believed me. The midnight seller had dissolved into digital smoke, leaving me alone with the memory of being priced and nearly purchased. But here's the thing. When something disappears that completely, it doesn't mean it's gone. It means it's moved on. The question gnawed at me in the sleepless hours. If the auction for me had closed, then who had won? I never went back to that site. Not once, not even to check. I don't want to. But here's the thing, silence doesn't mean safety. Some mornings I wake up and my hair feels shorter, like someone trimmed it while I slept. My drawers aren't quite how I left them. A shirt is folded differently. A spoon sits on the counter I swear I never used. At first I blame myself, fatigue, paranoia. But deep down I know the truth. I didn't escape the midnight seller. I just stopped looking. Maybe that was the real trap. If you don't look, you can't prove it's still happening. And maybe that's exactly what they want. Weeks have passed. I live quieter now, moving slower, double-checking everything. The man I was before, the night owl, the casual browser, is gone. Now I'm a man who listens for footsteps in empty rooms, who tastes dread in his coffee, who knows there are corners of the internet you don't just stumble into. They stumble into you. And every night, as I crawl into bed, I feel it again, the prickling at the base of my skull, like a lens focusing, like someone standing just outside the edge of sight. I tell myself it's nothing, but sometimes when my phone buzzes, my heart skips a beat, because I think maybe this time it's a notification from the marketplace, a new listing, because sometimes I swear the auction's still running, and the only item left is me. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching and listening. Stories like this take time to craft, and your support makes all the difference. If this sent a chill down your spine, hit that like button. It helps this video reach more people who love dark stories like you do. Subscribe to the channel for daily content like this and share this video with someone who needs a good scare tonight. There's another story waiting for you on your screen right now. Go check it out if you dare. I'll be back tomorrow with something new to keep you up at night. Until then, keep your lights on and maybe, just maybe, don't refresh that page. The dead account follows back. You ever get a message from someone you know shouldn't be texting you? That's how this started. I'm just an ordinary guy in a neighborhood where nothing ever happens. 9-to-5 cubicle job, the kind of place where the most exciting sound is the click of my keyboard. My apartment looks like a storage unit someone forgot to clean. Half-read books stacked like little tombstones, takeout cartons piling in the sink. And at night, when the city hum dies down, it's quiet enough to hear the buzz of the refrigerator motor, that low drone filling the emptiness. I don't like goodbyes. That's my flaw. When my best friend Mark died in a car accident last year, I couldn't bring myself to delete his Twitter. That account felt like a tether, a fragile thread tying me back to when he was alive, when things weren't so lonely. Every so often, I'd scroll through his old posts, reread his dumb jokes, stare at his selfies until I convinced myself I could still hear his laugh. The profile sat dormant as it should have, a little shrine in the digital graveyard. Then on a Wednesday night, while scrolling half awake in bed, my phone buzzed. A notification. Mark had followed me back. At first I laughed. Some glitch, right? An algorithm hiccup, a bug. But when I tapped his profile, it wasn't the same as I remembered. His banner photo had changed. It wasn't the goofy snapshot of us drunk at a Halloween party anymore. Now it was darker. A grainy photo of a road at night. A road slick with rain, reflecting the glow of headlights. And I swear, I know, that road wasn't just any road. It was the one where Mark died. At first, I wanted to believe it was some sick joke. Maybe someone hacked his account. Maybe some twisted troll got hold of his login. But the thing about grief is it makes you vulnerable. You want to believe, even when every part of your brain is screaming that it's impossible. The messages kept coming. Miss you. Still here. Come outside. Each one like a tap on glass. Soft but insistent. I typed a reply, hands shaking over the screen. Who is this? No answer. Just 3 dots pulsing. Waiting. Watching. Then another notification. Seen. That's when my phone buzzed again, another photo. And when I opened it, my heart clenched like a fist. It wasn't just any picture. It was me, standing at the window, right where I was, head tilted, phone in my hand. From the angle of the shot, it had been taken from the middle of my front lawn. I dropped the phone like it burned, stumbled backward until my knees hit the couch. Adrenaline roared in my ears. I yanked the blinds shut, turned every lock on the door twice, 3 times. But still, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. That creeping, skin-prickling certainty that eyes were fixed on me, steady and patient. I told myself not to look again, not to open the app, but of course I did. Because fear and curiosity, they're siblings, and they both starve you if you ignore them. The next message was worse. Remember this? Attached was another photo. This time, it was of Mark and me, taken years ago. We were teenagers, standing on that same rain-slick stretch of road where his car had spun out. I knew that photo didn't exist. No one was around that night. We didn't pose. There was no camera. And yet here it was. My hands went numb, my chest tight. Because if the photo was real, it meant someone or something had been with us that night, watching, waiting. And now it had followed me home. I snatched the phone off the floor, my breath coming in ragged bursts. My thumb hovered over 911, but it felt useless, like dialing wouldn't save me from this. Another buzz, another message. Don't be afraid, it's me. I froze. The words looked like Mark's voice would sound, gentle, teasing. But in my gut, I knew. Whatever was sending these messages wasn't Mark, not anymore. The next photo arrived before I could think. My screen filled with my own front door, shot from inches away, the grain of the wood, the brass doorknob, my doormat. And in the reflection of the knob, distorted and fisheye wide, I could make out a pale blur, a face. I backed toward the kitchen, eyes locked on the door. My mind spun through options, grabbed the knife block, bolt for the back exit, scream. But the world had gone cotton soft and slow, like a nightmare where your legs won't work. Another buzz. My hands shook so hard I nearly dropped the phone again. I'm cold. Let me in. I felt the vibration in my palm, and at the same time, a faint scratching sound at the front door. Slow, deliberate, fingernails on wood. Mark, my voice cracked. My throat was dry as paper. The scratching stopped. For a moment there was nothing, just the sound of my own pulse hammering in my ears. Then came a knock. 3 sharp, hollow raps that echoed through the apartment like gunshots. I bolted to the kitchen, yanked a knife from the block, and pressed myself flat against the wall. My heart was a wild animal trying to break free. I knew if I stayed there, if I let whatever was out there in, there would be no undoing it. No waking up from this. Another message lit up my phone. This one with no picture, just a single line. Check your back door. I spun around. The back door of my escape stood slightly open, a thin blade of night air slipping in. I hadn't opened it. I had to decide. Run out into the dark or face whatever had come for me. My fingers tightened on the knife handle until my knuckles turned white. No more messages. No more waiting. Either I opened the door or it would open itself. I couldn't breathe. My lungs locked up, every nerve sparking with the knowledge that I wasn't alone. That last photo, taken from inside, turned the walls of my own apartment against me. The air felt heavier, like the place itself was holding its breath. Knife in hand, I lunged up, spinning, scanning every shadow. The corners seemed deeper, the hallway darker. My reflection in the blackened TV screen looked warped, too slow to mimic me. Where are you? My whisper broke into the stillness. Buzz, another photo. This time it was me again, crouched in the corner, knife clenched, eyes wide. The exact posture I'd just been in 30 seconds earlier. Whoever, whatever, had been close enough to catch that moment. I staggered to the window and yanked the curtains open. The street outside was empty, too empty. No headlights, no passing cars, no hum of life. Just silence and the wet shine of asphalt under a weak street lamp. Like the world had folded in on itself and left me stranded here. My mind clawed for explanations. Hacker, stalker, a sick prank. Anything but what it felt like, something that had crawled out of the grave of a dead account and into my house. My phone buzzed again. This time, a video. My thumb trembled as I pressed play. The clip showed me sleeping, sheets tangled around me, chest rising and falling. The camera angle was from the foot of my bed. The timestamp at the top corner, last night. I dropped the phone. My stomach lurched. I wanted to scream, to smash everything, but I couldn't let out a sound. I thought of Mark then, the real Mark, the friend who'd never hurt me, who would have taken a punch before letting me get scared. Was this him twisted by death, or was it something else? Something wearing his face like a mask? The buzzing stopped. For the first time in hours, silence. No scratching, no knocking, no messages. Just me, shaking in the dark. I should have felt relief, but instead it was worse. Because silence doesn't mean safety. Silence means it's waiting. And in the quiet, I swore I heard it, faint, almost playful. Mark's laugh drifting through the apartment from nowhere I could find. I don't remember blacking out. One moment I was crouched behind the couch, knife clutched in my sweaty palm, heart hammering like a trapped bird. The next it was morning. Pale light leaked through the blinds. My phone was gone. The knife was gone. And my apartment was still, too still. No footprints, no signs of a break-in, no messages, no photos. My notifications showed nothing but a blank, silent feed. Mark's account was still there, though. The banner photo still that rain-slicked road. The following you still lit up in gray, like a bruise that wouldn't fade. I tried to tell myself it had been a nightmare, some grief-fueled hallucination. My mind, fraying under the weight of loneliness, playing tricks. But every night since, I've left my phone in another room, and every night I swear I hear it. The faint, mosquito buzz vibration of a notification in the dark, even when there's nothing there. Sometimes I wake up to find my front door unlocked. Sometimes my photos are rearranged on the wall, slightly tilted, like someone's been standing there, looking too closely. And once, just once, I opened my laptop and found a draft tweet sitting in Mark's old account. Soon you'll understand. I don't know what that means. I don't know if I want to. But the thing that scares me most isn't what's happened. It's what hasn't. Because every night I check, and every night that gray following button is still there, waiting. Patient. So tell me, if your dead friend followed you back, would you click unfollow or would you wait? because maybe that's what it wants. If you enjoyed this story and it sent a chill down your spine, please give the video a like. It really helps more people discover it. Subscribe to the channel for daily creepy stories just like this one, and share it with someone who'd love a midnight scare. Thanks so much for listening and watching. There's another story recommended on your screen right now. Click it if you're brave enough. I'll see you back here tomorrow, and until then, maybe check your notifications. The chat room that knew my secrets. Have you ever logged into a place online you thought was dead, only to find out it was waiting for you? That's how it started for me. Just a Tuesday night, nothing special. The kind of night where the city outside my window sounded like it was holding its breath. I live in one of those shoebox apartments, walls so thin you can hear your neighbor sneeze and the radiators wheeze like they're dying. Most nights, I lie there in the glow of my laptop, scrolling until my eyes burn. I'm not ashamed to admit I'm lonely. Loneliness makes you click things you shouldn't. I found it by accident, this old chat room. Looked like something out of the early internet, all gray boxes and clunky fonts, like stumbling into a museum no one cared to curate. The kind of place you assume is empty, abandoned years ago. Its ghosts buried under newer, shinier platforms. I should have clicked away, but boredom is a dangerous thing. I typed in a username, my real name actually, though I don't know why. Just habit, maybe. That's when it happened. The air in the room changed. Don't ask me how I knew, you just feel these things. The laptop screen brightened, not by pixels, but by something else, like the glow was crawling out into the apartment, warming the peeling paint on my walls, touching me. And then a message blinked in the chat. Just one word, welcome. Nobody should have been there. No one at all. Yet the word sat waiting, pulsing like a heartbeat, and for reasons I can't explain, I leaned closer. The chat room wasn't empty. It had been waiting for me. The first reply came instantly. Not just a hello or a username popping into the feed, but a sentence. My childhood address, written out in clean, simple text. I froze. My first instinct was to laugh, because isn't that what you do when something feels wrong? Nervous laughter, the kind that cracks in your throat. Hackers exist. Data leaks. The internet's full of scavengers pulling scraps of your life from old, forgotten places. That's what I told myself. But then came the next message. It described the wallpaper in my childhood bedroom. The little tear in the corner where I punched the wall when I was 12, furious at my father. No photo of that exists. No one else ever saw it. That secret was mine alone. The words blurred on the screen, scrolling faster now, each new line like a knife pressed against my ribs. My first crush's name. The lie I told at my mother's funeral to make myself look stronger. The night I stole $20 from my best friend and swore it wasn't me. All of it, spilling out like someone had been waiting years to unload my sins. My hands trembled on the keyboard. I typed back, the words sharp and desperate. Who are you? How do you know this? The reply came so quickly it felt rehearsed. Turn around. Every hair on my arm stood up. The hum of the radiator became a roar. I didn't move, couldn't. My eyes locked on those two words until they pulsed in my vision. The apartment felt tighter, smaller. I swear I heard breathing that wasn't mine. A soft, steady rhythm just over my shoulder. My heart tried to match it, stumbling, losing pace. I slammed the laptop shut. Darkness swallowed the room, but it didn't comfort me, it suffocated. I sat there, rigid, listening to the silence. That's when the typing started again. The laptop was closed, yet the keystrokes clattered from inside it, furious, like fingers hammering in a locked coffin. And somehow, under the noise, I knew the chat room hadn't disappeared. It was still talking, waiting. The room was silent, except for the thud of my heart hammering against my ribs like it wanted out. My hands hovered above the keyboard, trembling, slick with sweat. The laptop was still closed, but light bled from its edges, thin and hungry, casting shapes onto the walls that shouldn't have been there. The glow shifted the shadows, lengthened them. One grew taller, wider, bending at impossible angles, its edges sharp like broken glass. I couldn't stop staring at it. Shadows aren't supposed to move when you hold still. But this one pulsed, stretched, as though it were testing the limits of the wall that contained it. I lunged for the cord, ripped the plug from the socket. Sparks snapped. The light should have died with the machine, but it didn't. The glow swelled, bright and unnatural, filling every corner of the room with a sickly radiance, throwing that warped figure against the peeling paint. Something was in here with me. Every instinct screamed to run, but my body locked in place, caught between choices that weren't really choices at all. Either turn and face it, or stay frozen and let it swallow me from behind. My throat tightened, my pulse roared in my ears. The figure twitched as if aware of my hesitation. The air pressed heavier, and then, God help me, I heard a whisper. Not from the laptop, from the dark. You can't hide from yourself. That voice, it wasn't a stranger's, it was mine. Lower, rougher, like a recording of me dragged through static. I forced myself to turn, and there it was, standing just beyond reach, its face smeared like wet paint, but its outline unmistakable. It was me. Same slump of shoulders, same trembling hands, only its eyes were nothing but hollow sockets glowing from the inside. The glow flared again, and the thing stepped closer. A choice clawed at me. Do I fight it, this impossible version of myself, or let it take me, merge with me, whatever it wanted? I opened my mouth to scream, to resist, but the figure leaned forward, lips splitting into a jagged grin. And before I could move, it whispered the one secret I'd never admitted aloud. Words that shattered me, words no one should know. The monitor died with a hollow pop, and the glow vanished like someone snuffed out the sun. My apartment dropped into black so complete I couldn't see my hands in front of me. Only my breathing filled the space. Ragged, uneven, too loud. Like someone else's lungs were working beside me. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. I sat until dawn leaked gray through the blinds, watching the shape of the room settle back into its shabby normal. The radiator hissed. The pipes groaned, but nothing else moved. By daylight, I almost convinced myself it hadn't happened. Almost. For weeks after, I avoided the laptop like it was radioactive. It sat on my desk, closed, collecting dust. I told myself I'd get rid of it, but I never did. Cowardice or curiosity, maybe both, kept me tethered. My friends noticed the change. At work, they told me I looked pale, sick, like I hadn't slept in days. They were right, I hadn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that warped grin, those hollow eyes, the twisted version of myself stepping out of the light. But I told them nothing. How do you explain something you don't understand? How do you admit the thing haunting you is you? The city kept moving on around me. Crowded trains, buzzing neon signs, people shouting into phones. Life didn't care if I was unraveling. That somehow made it worse. Like I was the only one who'd slipped through a crack in the world, and everyone else was too busy to notice. Nights were the hardest. That's when the silence pressed in, when the shadows seemed to breathe again. Sometimes, I'd glance at the corner of my room and swear the screen flickered, just once. A single blink of light, but the laptop was still unplugged. I told myself it was just a trick of the eye, exhaustion, a brain short-circuiting from fear. Yet each time the flicker lasted a fraction longer, bright enough to paint the wall in that familiar, sickly glow. And every time it happened, I braced for the sound, the furious clatter of keys, the whisper that wasn't quite mine. The sound hasn't come back. Not yet, but the silence feels like it's waiting. I tell myself it could have been a prank, just code stitched together by some bored genius who knew too much about me. Maybe the internet really does remember everything, and that night, it decided to spit my sins back into my face. But deep down, I know better. That wasn't code. Code doesn't whisper in your own voice. Code doesn't stretch itself into the shape of your body and grin at you with your own teeth. Something else crawled through the wires that night, and it wore me like a mask. I've changed since then. Not in the way you'd hope. I'm more careful with what I click, sure, but carefulness doesn't erase the paranoia. I live with it now, the same way you live with a leaky faucet or the sound of mice in the walls. It's always there, dripping in the back of my mind. I still haven't logged back in. The laptop sits in the corner of the room like a corpse no one has the courage to bury. Some nights, I feel its weight, like it's watching me even when it's closed, even when I've unplugged it. Maybe it's still waiting. Maybe it's not finished with me yet. And if it's not finished with me, maybe it's looking for someone else. So if you ever stumble across a forgotten chat room, the kind that looks dusty and abandoned, and someone inside types your name, don't answer. Don't type back. Because some doors online aren't meant to be opened. Some doors don't close once they swing wide. And trust me, whatever's waiting on the other side doesn't want to chat. If this story gripped you tonight, do me a favor, hit that like button. It helps the channel grow and gets these stories out to more people. Make sure you subscribe for daily content and share this with someone who loves a good scare, or maybe someone who spends a little too much time online. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. There's another video waiting for you on the screen right now. Click it if you dare, and I'll see you back here tomorrow, if the chat room lets me.